Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR prepping. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. It's a nice, cloudy, rainy day. We're having a second storm roll through here. You know, it took us a while to get some rain started around here, but baby, it has started now. So nothing but rain. So family's coming into town, going to be pre-recording a bunch of videos and try to get ahead of videos. It's not going to be the normal, hey, get your coffee, pull up. Usually I do the videos the day of and the morning of, right? But lots to do. Don't want to be having to even concentrate on videos, so going to pre-record a lot of stuff. Might not be commenting as much, but I love you. Know that I'm here, and know in the evenings I'll try to get to a few of your guys' comments. Okay, so let's get into it. So I did a video, I don't know, I want to say last week sometime. Just talking about the season, winter season coming up, preparing for flu, preparing for the normal things that we typically would have to worry about in wintertime, right? Flu season, is it a light season? Is it a heavy season? Getting prepared, getting the items you need, right? Talked a little bit about COVID, and then of course talked about RSV, which is a respiratory virus that's going on very heavily right now in all the states. And typically that is a respiratory virus that is happening right now very heavily in infants and toddlers, okay? The three groups, like normal, you have to worry about elderly people with RSV, and then it's infants and toddlers. But people in all ages, this is something that they can get. The difference of what I did today's video is I just wanted to give you an update on something interesting that I read about COVID and symptoms. And then just know that RSV is like the biggest, newest thing. It's so crazy how RSV has been here. It's been a thing. And this year it's blowing up. And the main reason I say that very loosely, they are saying is that the reason why flu season is going to be so heavy this year, RSV is off the chain right now, is because of lockdowns. And because we were locked down and children were not in school and they weren't able to build up their systems. And so they're very susceptible right now to getting viruses, getting flus. Do I believe that? Not so much, okay? But that's a whole other video. Let's just talk about the facts and stuff. The facts are that there are more hospitalizations popping up. I saw a video about the Seattle area and cases popping up, and I was like, ooh, let me read it. Let me see how bad it is in our area. And it literally was like the pediatrics was a large hospital was talking about, yes, they're getting about 25 to 30 cases a day. Not hospitalizations, but cases a day. That to me is it's flu season, right? This is the season. So that wasn't super alarming to me. And RSV is something that can easily be just treated at home, like we talk about. Get the things to treat the symptoms. That's what we're doing with anything that you get, any kind of illness, whatever. You treat the symptoms and you knock stuff out like that, especially when we talk about home pharmacies, trying to stay well, trying to stay healthy at home and not having to just run to a hospital. The biggest thing with RSV is there's not really a vaccine, and people that are real bad with it is because they can't breathe. They're literally having problems with breathing and stuff, and so the best thing for that is oxygen. And so those people that are in the hospital, little children, little babies that are in the hospital that have to stay, that's what they're getting, oxygen treatments and stuff, getting hydrated, that type of stuff. But there's a lot of stuff you can do, as you know, as mothers and fathers, that you can do to take care of your children. So let's talk about RSV. I didn't talk about symptoms last time, but some symptoms for RSV is runny nose, decrease in appetite, coughing, sneezing, fever, wheezing. Now a lot of that is just like, okay, they're sick, right? Flu. But the two that jumped out at me was decrease in the appetite, so not wanting to eat. Again, sometimes when we're sick, that's kind of a thing. You don't really feel like eating. And then wheezing, okay? So remember, all this stuff, COVID, flu, all that stuff is respiratory viruses, infections in your respiratory system. And so it becomes, you know, your ability to be able to breathe. My concern is that we just went through several years of COVID and people's lungs are destroyed, right? People's respiratory systems are already weakened by just going through bouts of COVID, tore up people's lungs and lung systems, right? So people are already, to me, in a weakened state. This has nothing to do whether you got a jab or didn't get a jab. This has to do with that virus and what it does to your body, okay, in general, regardless, right, of your treatment or non-treatment of it, okay? And so if you're already weakened, obviously you're going to be susceptible to be getting other things. And when you get other things, them being severe. So flu, we worry about bronchitis, we worry about pneumonia, stuff like that. That's very serious. That's going to be very, very serious thing that we're going to have to battle this year after going through this bout, and still going through this bout, you know, of COVID stuff, okay? So I say all that to say, you know, you got to get really up on game, pay attention to what's going on, and get the things you need in your home to treat the symptoms, and get it now, because as this explodes into the winter season, that stuff's going to fly off the shelves. You're not going to be able to get basic over-the-counter items because everybody and their mother is going to be trying to treat themselves at home and get better. You know, we're going to go through a bout where you're not going to be able to get cold medicine. You're not going to be able to get your cough syrups, your sprays, your anything, okay? I'm not talking about all meds. I'm just talking about common sense. We are going to go through a period where you're not going to be able to get basic cold medicines off of the shelves because they're going to fly off, because people are going to be dealing with RSV and flu and COVID. Now, the update I wanted to talk about with COVID is read an interesting article just saying, you know, obviously they're doing some tests and different things, trying to understand things a little bit better. And they were talking about symptoms, right? And so they were talking about how they were finally testing people who were fully jabbed, partially jabbed, and unjabbed, right? And what's the differences, if any, with symptoms. And there was a difference. And so basically what they came out was they figured out that all of the people across the board, symptom-wise for COVID, had sore throat, runny nose, persistent cough, headache. Flu, basically, right? You don't feel well, you have the basic stuff, and you need some medicine, take care of yourself. The next, I guess, symptom changed for depending on if they were fully, partially, or not at all, okay? And so for fully jabbed, the symptom that that group of people predominantly had was a blocked nose. So congestion, blocked nose, couldn't breathe through their nose, super blocked nose. That was a symptom that fully jabbed people had in this test. With partially jabbed people, the next symptom or biggest symptom that was different than the other ones was sneezing. Obsessive sneezing was the biggest symptom. And then for people that were not jabbed, the other symptom that was huge and predominant in that group of people was fever, right? So, you know, it's nothing to take, you know, as gospel, but it just kind of was interesting to see that, to read that, to understand that obviously there's stuff we're still learning, and it was interesting that they were able to dive down into the symptoms depending on, you know, whether you were jabbed or not jabbed or partially jabbed or whatever. And so it will be interesting to see and know that information, and to see if it plays out, and then to know kind of, okay, you know, I'm just going through it, whatever. Now, I think that this year is going to be different, and I think you're going to have a lot of people that will just stay at home and don't want to be bothered with being tested or you know, trying to figure out if they have flu, or do you have COVID, or do you have RSV, or do you have this. I think it's going to just come down to, if people can breathe and be at home sick, people are going to do that at home pharmacy. You know, get that stuff stockpiled, because that's when it's going to come down to. Another huge aspect of this, and getting ahead of this now, is boosting your immune system now, before you get the flu, before you get anything. Boost your immune system, right? Take your extra vitamins, take your immune boosters, take your, you know, increase your levels of vitamin C, vitamin D, all these good things, right? Nutritious meals, right? That stuff gives you energy, fuels your body, and helps your body from jump fight this stuff off so you don't get it, okay? So I think it's going to be a super heavy season. I know we just talked about this. Pay attention to the news. You know, it's blowing up. You know, I don't think that you need to be just, oh my goodness, this RSV's the next COVID. No, RSV's been here, okay? And whether or not that's because we had all our children home or not, is besides the point. I don't even think it matters to discuss the why, because they're only going to ever discuss the why that makes sense to their side of the story, their agenda. You know, I'm already hearing the, you know, propaganda of, you know, this is why you need to get the jab because it's going to help with this other stuff, right? So there's always an agenda with stuff. The thing that you need to worry about is, how do we keep our family safe? How do we keep our little ones feeling well? Get the things you need, get your respiratory treatments, get your oximeter, get your cold medicines, get all that stuff in the home so you're ready to do your Vicks, your nice little breathing machine type things. Get all the things that are going to make you feel better when you get sick, whether that's you getting sick or things you do for little ones. And know that this RSV is hot and heavy right now, especially with infants and toddlers, okay? So if you have little ones that either are in a preschool or even a daycare because they're so young, they're not even in school yet, you know, you need to be on the lookout for this. And it's going to be hard to figure out what they have maybe, and you could take them to the hospital to figure it out. But a lot of times they're just going to be sick, and you're just going to have to take the time off and take care of your babies and nurse them back to good health. Okay, so you guys are amazing. Love and light, blessings from my bear cave to yours. I hope you guys have a great day, great start to your week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.